I bought some books. Let's go through them. You've probably seen on my channel, because some people are getting like really irate over it. Like, I mean, if you don't believe, this video's just going to infuriate you. I'm reading through the Quran, and I'm doing an entire series on that. And then, from that, people are like, ha, are you going to be reading the other books? Ha, I think you know what this video is going to be. But before we get into that, I bought Solenoid by Immerse Cartarescu. I know that the main character has lice, that's all I know. Oh, and by the side of it, I picked up this copy of The Circle by Dave Eggers. It was 80p in a library sale. Oh, another bargain. Look at this bad boy. £8 for 5 books. That's like buying 1 book and having 4 for free. That's ridiculous. Without getting all of them out, I got the CJ Samson books. It was so cheap. It was so cheap on eBay. Like, how could I say no? Oh, let's get into it. The reason I said I was going to pick up the Quran was because of Ben over at Doom Antidote, who is reading the Bible. Now, a lot of the notes here are referencing the Bible. And my New Testament's pretty damn shoddy. I mean, my Old Testament's pretty damn shoddy. So I thought I would get a Bible. So this is the King James Version. And then I went down a rabbit hole. There are people who were like, oh, the KJV, oh, that's for losers. And because this is more like an anglicised version, because I live in the UK, Anglican churches are pretty much like all I know in regards to the pageantry and everything. I was speaking to one of my colleagues who's a Baptist, and he was like, nah, pick up something else. I'm in an R-in between getting a study Bible, and the ones I'm talking about is the NIV Quest Study Bible and the ESV Big Chunky Boy. I've done a little bit of research on a channel who I followed for a good number of years now. It's the 10-minute Bible hour. I don't think he goes by that name. I think it's Matt Whitman. Anyway, this is the channel. And my reason for choosing those is that they seem to fall into the criteria that I want. I don't really want like a major bias. I don't want a pigeonholed look through one scholar's lens. So this got me thinking. So I picked up on eBay for £1.82 from the Church of the Latter-day Saints themselves, the Book of Mormon, because I have a very, what I would call a crude understanding of Mormonism. I mean, I've seen the Book of Mormon by the creators of South Park, because South Park is one of the greatest programs ever created. But I don't know much about Mormonism at all. So I'm curious. Ding dong, let's get off this Abrahamic train and move into Hinduism. So I picked up this edition of the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita. I'm just going to call it the Gita because Bhagavad is very difficult for me to say and get my tongue around. Rita on Instagram went, no, you gotta put that down, put that little short boy down. You gotta read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Keen to read the Gita. I read a lot of Indian literature, and I know the Mahabharata. I have a very thin outline of the Mahabharata. I have tried to tackle it many times, but I just keep forgetting because it's so huge. So I feel as though I need to kind of get my head around Hinduism, and therefore, as I'm going to read the mythology of Hinduism, I'm also going to read the philosophy. So I've picked up a copy of the Upanishads, of which I don't know. But I do know that Jainism and Buddhism emerged from Hinduism. I have tried to look into Jainism for a book. If you're a Jain, let me know. I know nothing about your religion, but it seems impossible. Let's not get into Jainism. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Actually, before we talk about Buddhism, I also picked up a very short Ramayana, because I have read the Ramayana, but this was 50p in a library sale, so maybe I'll get a bigger version of the Ramayana. But I'm kind of okay. I know the Ramayana a little bit. I've left this to last because I really don't know how to say it. I have picked up Santadeva's The Bodhikaryavattara. I need like a gap halfway through there. The Bodhikaryavattara. That clearly not a Welsh word. Clearly, this Welsh word I've never heard of this. I've picked this up, and I also have the, I gotta do this off the top of my head. It's here. Is it the Dhammapada? I don't know. I've picked this edition up, though. Well, not Speak of the Devil. That feels a bit... maybe I shouldn't be saying that. But nevertheless, the postman just arrived. We have the one I couldn't say, the Dhammapada, Sayings of the Buddha. It's Sayings from the Buddha. And also, this arrived. I got the Hebrew New Testament and the Hebrew to English Tanakh. The Tanakh is the collective work. It actually is made up. So you have the Torah, it's not NA, it's the Nevi'im and the Ketuvim. In layman's terms, it's the Old Testament, and then we have the New Testament in Hebrew, and it's translated English. There's actually a story behind this, which I think I might be on someone else's channel to talk about. We'll see if that comes, but if it doesn't happen, you'll forget this in a week. So bon voyage. So yes, I'm going to be reading more religious texts on this channel and talking about it because I think it's interesting. I think it is actually, the conversations that I've had with people who follow these religions have been very insightful, they've been very informative, but equally there's been a lot of back and forth. There's been a very open dialogue, and I've been speaking to people who I never would have spoken to, or people have reached out who normally wouldn't have reached out. So if you have any tips and tricks, if you made it to the end of this video, I don't know, go and buy a book, read a book, I don't care, do what you want.